Good evening, welcome to Martinsville Speedway, Virginia for the Goodies Body Pain 500. 5 races so far in the Winston Cup Series, 5 different winners, and last time out at Texas Motor Speedway, it was Dale Earnhardt Jr., who was nothing of it. Dale Earnhardt Jr., who was the dominant force, who as a rookie now has won his first race. Well, there is the race analysis. 500 laps of this half-mile, really antique of the early NASCAR years. And this is the kind of track that Lee Petty cut his teeth on. Lee Petty, the doyen of NASCAR racing in the 40s and 50s, sadly passed away this week. Rusty Wallace on pole position from his brother Kenny, ahead of Mike Skinner and Brett Bodine. Jeff Burton and Jerry Nadeau line up on the third row of the grid. Incidentally, it's Rusty Wallace's second pole of the year, his third career here at Martinsville. Ricky Rudd and Sterling Marlin on row 4 of the grid. Row 5 of the grid, Bobby Hamilton and Bill Elliott qualifying very well indeed to take a 9th spot here in the Big Mac Ford. And on 11th and 12th spot, Jeff Gordon and Kenny Schrader, all of them ahead of 13th. Bobby Labonte, the points leader, and Kyle Petty in 16th place in the 44 car. Last week's winner, Dale Earnhardt Jr., qualified 22nd. Last year's race winner here in the spring, John Andretti in Richard Petty's car, qualified 26th. And the champion, Dale Jarrett, 28th on the starting lineup. The magnificent sound of 43 Winston Cup engines running up to speed around Martinsville Speedway. This half-mile over with its long straights and relatively short, tight corners. Not much banking, just 12 degrees, and that means this is a heavy breakaway track. And already they're running 2 abreast. The racetrack is very clean. Any line at the moment will do after heavy overnight rain. Washed out Friday night's rubber on the track. There was no running in happy hour on Saturday. It rained most of Saturday and into the evening on Saturday. And Kenny Wallace around the outside with a 31 car of Mike Skinner, the second and third place men in the race, goes off heavily into the outside wall just a few laps into the race. Barely had got the cars up to speed, barely got the brakes working. And just 4 laps in, we have the first caution of the race. Well, that's how the race started for Kenny Wallace, and that's entirely the end of it as far as he is concerned. Kenny Wallace into the wall very heavily indeed, just losing it in the very early laps. On lap 4, out into the retaining wall he went. Let's have a look again around alongside Mike Skinner, just gets himself there. And is there a hint of contact? No. Kenny Wallace just braking late, locks them up, slams into the wall and destroys the front of the car. And that is how the race started here in Martinsville. It is currently just coming up to the halfway mark. So when we rejoin after this short break, we'll be coming back with around 250 laps to go. And let me tell you, you have missed an awful lot of processions. 9 yellow flags so far, of which this was the first. Rusty Wallace led after 4, leads now after 240 laps. Back in a moment.
Back live to NASCAR with
Martinsville, Virginia. It's the Goodies Body Pain 500. NASCAR Winston Cup racing continues live here on Eurosport. Good evening, I'm Martin Haven. We'll be joining our ESPN commentators in just a moment. They are away at a break at the moment, and for the first time in about the last 40 minutes, they have been running strongly now under green flag for some 35 laps. Over 60 laps so far of the 245 in the books have been run under caution. Just 6 lead changes, all of those under caution, as Rusty Wallace has come in and out of the pits in the Miller Lite Ford. And it's Rusty Wallace, you caught a glimpse of him there, that is in in the lead of this race. He qualified on pole, and the short track king of Winston Cup racing is still leading from Sterling Marlin. Bobby Labonte in third place, Dale Earnhardt fourth, Ricky Rudd lies in fifth. By far the most likely places to start a pile-up. We've seen several of those. Kyle Petty's car you'll see going around without a hood on, but to pick up with Benny Parsons, Ned Jarrett, John Kernan, Bill Webber, Dr. Jerry Punch, and first, Bob Jenkins.
Looks like the right front tire's going flat on Rusty Walsh's car. He wants to get down so he can get in the pit. Now he finally does do that. No caution, no reason for one. What happens is the brakes are so good on these race cars anymore, and they don't realize how much they're using, and it melts the inside of the tire. Bill Weber, he's coming to you.
And this will be a painful limp down pit road at 35 miles an hour. Smoke coming from the right front tire. Robert Pemberton coaching him into his spot. As Bob was saying, Rusty has dominated this race in a car he's only used twice before. They're going to have trouble getting the jack under the car. Now they lift the car, slide the jack underneath. Bill Wilburn pulls the right front tire off. They put on the right side tires. They're going to go ahead and do four. Rusty will pray that this race stays clean, losing valuable laps on the track. Left side's going on. This car, 2 starts, has never had a top 10 finish. Rusty's going to have to battle back to recapture the 4-minute showcase so far today.
And Bobby Labonte, Dale Earnhardt, and Ricky Rudd have gotten by Sterling Marlin, and Earnhardt going for the lead at 3.
And Rudd coming up to second position now as he gets to the outside of Labonte.
And Tony Stewart has also joined this in the Home Depot car. Wow, things got excited there all of a sudden, Bob.
First 5 cars now running nose to tail after Rusty had the problem. And let's see, where did Rusty drop back to? 31st position? Wow. A tough break for...
couple laps down, Bob,
yeah.
looks like.
Boy, a tough break for Rusty, who, just as we said, was dominating. Here's what happened to him.
He goes in the corner, and all of a sudden that right front goes flat, and the car goes straight. That's what happened to the 16 of Kevin LePage yesterday. LePage hit the wall, and Rusty is fortunate because he is able to stop the car before he gets to the wall.
Now let's listen.
There you heard it. He scooted up the track. I'll tell you, he was fortunate not to be able to he was fortunate to keep it off the wall and not hit the wall.
So Dale Earnhardt now has gone to the lead. He's leading his 4th race of the year 2000.
And all of a sudden, Sterling Marlin, who was so good earlier, has fallen back to the 6th position. And boy, are they in some heavy traffic. Look at all of that beating and banging coming off the turn.
Mike Skinner and Tony Stewart exchanged some paint. Stewart's got a huge donut on the right side of that Home Depot Pontiac.
Now, we had a report that Mike Skinner, maybe the battery might be going down and that it's not hitting on all 8 cylinders, doesn't have all the power that it needs. Well, you know, they've been out there a while on these tires, and the track is getting a little bit slicker. That might not hurt him as bad as it would have if he had new tires on it. And we see some pretty serious damage to the right side of the Home Depot Pontiac.
Number 11 car of Brett Bodine that started 4th has gone a lap down. He's in 23rd position.
Well, the handle went away on Brett's car.
There's Marlin and Rusty Wallace. Rusty trying to move up through the field. Get some of those laps. Get at least one of his 2 laps down. He's now in 30th spot, 2 laps down.
If he can pass the leaders, you know, and then a caution come out.
Yep.
And that bunches him up. Well, you know, there he goes by Mike Skinner. Of course, those new tires on. He needs to have a fast race car all day anyway. He could possibly get back those laps if the circumstances were right.
Bill, what's that tire look like? Oh, my.
Well, it's not the one you want to pull out of your trunk, Bob, if you've already got a problem. But what they're saying here, And Benny, you can walk us through this a little bit more, but they're saying that the belt inside the bead here just gave way, and that's what snapped, and that's what basically took the tire away. So that can happen through a variety.
It's so good, they get that tire so hot that sometimes it just melts. And look how much faster he is than the leader, Dale Earnhardt, with those 4 fresh tires. And that was really good strategy on the team's part to go ahead and change 4 while he was in there rather than just change the affected right side tires.
He's about 3 seconds behind Dale Earnhardt as he passes Bobby Labonte, who's running in 3rd place. And there's Earnhardt in traffic, so Rusty still has some time to make up before he can get one of those laps back.
And Earnhardt finally caught, and we see Tony Stewart on the inside of his teammate, Bobby Labonte. I was going to say Earnhardt finally caught Rich Bickle in the 60 Power Team car.
Jerry, what about Marlin, who's now back to 6th?
Well, Bob, about the same time Rusty had his problem with that cut tire or melted bead, Sterling Marlin began to yell that the car had just gotten suddenly loose. Ned Berry had definitely picked up a moment ago the track is getting slicker and slicker, which is why you're seeing Mike Skinner's car run better, even though he's down on power. But Sterling Marlin's car is so loose, Scott Eggleston, the crew chief, says just hang in there. If we can get a caution flag, we'll take a rubber out of the rear. That'll probably fix it. But right now, Marlin just trying to hang on to a top 6 position.
And Earnhardt moving through traffic now. He is putting Rich Bickle a lap down in 21st. Now comes up on Stacy Compton, who's running 20th. And watching very closely is Rookie Rudd and Rusty Wallace. Wallace is that close to getting one of the 2 laps back.
Boy, he made that 3 seconds he was behind a mention a moment ago up in a hurry.
I remember back about 10 years ago when Harry Gant was going for 4 in a row or 3 in a row or something, and he was involved in the crash, something similar to what Rusty went through. And I said, well, unfortunately, Harry won't win his whatever today. And guess what?
I remember that very well, BP.
I tell you, Rusty Wallace still believes he can win this race. I'll guarantee you that he thinks he can still win this race. But now he's having to drive that thing harder than he's driven it all day. Could the same thing happen again? Let's be careful about that.
Here he comes up on Earnhardt, the leader. That's Dale just ahead. Mike Bliss to the right. Look at Rusty. Going to give it a whirl here.
He's on the inside of Rusty. He's got that position, and he goes by Earnhardt.
Now, the best thing that could happen to Rusty right now would be for the caution to come out.
Yep. I'm not sure, Ned. I'm not sure that he doesn't need to run long enough for all these other cars to make a pit
Good
stop.
point. Good point. Yeah, if they had to stop under green, then that would put him back in the lead, really.
And then the caution flag come out.
Yeah, you're right.
So Rusty Wallace is now just 1 lap down in 28th position. The leader is Dale Earnhardt, followed by Rudd, Stewart, Skinner, and Bobby Labonte.
So now we have a race on our hands, don't we? Rusty Wallace, who has led this thing all the way through until you joined us. The moment we handed over to our American commentators, as you heard, not Bob Jenkins suavely restarting their part of the show, but Benny Parsons leaping in as the leader dramatically blew that right front tire. And it was fortunate indeed, as Ned Jarrett pointed out, that he had plenty of room in the middle of the corner there in which to gather it up. If it had been on the exit, then he would have been in big trouble, the retaining wall being much closer to where the cars were on the racing line. As you can see, he had 4.5 lanes of tarmac to play with. And now back out in front, Dale Jarrett, but just 1 lap down on the leaders now is Rusty Wallace. So by the time he gets round to Dale Earnhardt, I beg your pardon, not the race leader, Dale Jarrett, Dale Earnhardt is the race leader. Rusty Wallace now will be piling through it. It looked like he was in one of those video games where you can start as a rookie and your car just drives past everything else as long as you don't hit too many things and hit the wall. And on brand new tires, Rusty Wallace absolutely flying. And as Benny pointed out again, what he really doesn't need now is a yellow flag, because that would put everybody else on fresh rubber, and that would put him right back in the locker where he started. At the moment, he has a significant advantage in track speed on everybody else, and he has to use it to try and work his way up the order. Well, Ned's boy Dale there, 88. You're looking back at it from Mark Martin's car. Mark Martin in 9th place. Ward Burton being shown in 10th on the racetrack. Dale Jarrett in 11th. But Jarrett, as you can see, right behind Mark Martin now. So that makes him 10th. Ward Burton in the Caterpillar car, 22 behind. There he is. And slowing on the front stretch, it looks like either Mike Bliss in the 27 car or Jerry Nadeau in the Michael Holligan car, number 25. Well, no sign yet of a yellow flag. They're going underneath the 97 car. He's a lap down already. So Chad Little being passed by Dale Jarrett and first by his Roush teammate Mark Martin. Well, let's go back now and pick up the action live with Benny Parsons, Ned Jarrett, and this time Bob Jenkins.
Dale Earnhardt leading the Goodies Body Paint 500 here at Martinsville Speedway in Virginia by about 9/10 of a second over Ricky Rudd. There is Rusty Wallace, and this is how much he's been able to pull away from Earnhardt since he passed him and got one of his 2 laps back.
But if Dale Earnhardt were to pit now and change 4 tires, he probably could do almost the same thing to Rusty Wallace. This racetrack, like all others, those fresh tires makes the car so much faster.
Well, there are a lot of cars that are slipping and sliding around out there, being they don't know how far we need to go before they would be scheduled for a stop, but it shouldn't be too long.
And here's one car that has been sliding in the last few laps. Mark Martin up ahead of Dale Jarrett.
Yeah, we saw Mark up there in 4th place about 30 laps ago, but now he's struggling to hold on to the 8th position.
John Kernan, what's the problem with Mark?
About 15 laps ago, Mark radioed in and told his crew chief Jimmy Finnegan the car just would not work in the middle of the turns. It looks like he's moved up a lane in the turns just to see if it'll handle there. But the car has gotten very loose on him, so Mark has a real handful. And also Dale Jarrett's car doesn't want to work down low in the corners either.
Jarrett taking, however, the 8th position away from Martin.
Jeremy Mayfield is on pit road. We heard earlier that his car was not working very good, so he thought as long as he could, decided to come in and get some new tires and some adjustments on his Ford.
He'll make a chassis adjustment back on the left rear, left front.
Mayfield rolls the Mobile 1 Ford out once again. Jerry, how'd it go down there? John Kernan?
Jeremy Mayfield's car had been very, very loose, but also another problem on it. He told them the brake pedal was stuck halfway down to the floor, so they were concerned that would activate the pistons and push the brake pads up and hold them up against the rotor and heat things up too much. But that doesn't seem to be the main problem right now. The main problem is the handling gone completely away on Jeremy Mayfield's car.
I tell you what, it hasn't gone away on that 20 car of Tony Stewart's.
No, he has caught the 2nd and 3rd place car.
Man,
there they are. Just move right up on it.
Not only is this the car that Stewart won the pole here a year ago, but it is the same car in which he won 2 races last year.
Michael Waltrip is running in the 18th position in the car number 7, about to go a lap down.
And here comes Sterling Marlin. He finally said, I've fought this as long as I want to. Let's make a pit stop, make some adjustments, get 4 tires. Jerry.
Fighting a very loose race car. Sterling Marlin brings the car number 40, the course machine, to a halt on pit road. He has not won since July of 1996. Some 121 races ago in Daytona. Those is a great race car. They make an adjustment to the right rear. We're going to pull a rubber out of the rear. They have yet to do that. Left side tires going on. Second generation driver. Left front lugs are tight. Marlin is down and away.
18.7 second pit stop for Sterling. Here comes Bill Elliott in for a stop. Here's Bill Weber.
And it's been a good run for Bill Elliott to this point. He has one of the tricky pit stalls here on pit road, right at one of the bends along pit road. It'll be a 4-tire change in fuel. We've also got the 88 on pit road. He's getting right side tires as well. Now they come around to the left side on the 94, putting on the left sides and fueling it. Elliott waiting. Tires are on, fuel is in. He goes back out on pit road. Left sides are good on the 88. He pulls out a hit stall and begins to charge down pit road. Now the 20 is also on pit road. Let's go to Jerry Punch.
Might be the comeback of the day for Warren Burton. Remember that big win at Darlington has pumped this team up. Caterpillar team, if you just joined us, had a stop-and-go penalty for a 2-tire change because the right front tire was not back across the wall. Now, Tommy Baldwin and the Bill Davis crew going to work. Right side tires, seeing the windshield, skirting the left side. Got a good pit stop going here. Also, the car number 24 is in. Jeff Ford back to the 22 car. Left side tires on. Warren Burton down in the way. He will race Johnny Benson off the pit road.
And we see Jeff Gordon completing his pit stop. Left side is up. And down and away Jeff Gordon goes.
And I wonder if Tony Stewart might have run out of gas. He was really slow coming off of turn 2, but now he's in the pits. Let's go to the pits and John Kerner.
Ed, that's exactly what happened. They'll spray either the starter fluid in. He finally gets the engine green fired. They had just told him to hit the next time by. As he was coming out of turn 2, he said, hey, I'm out of fuel, dead stick. Now the engine dies here. They're trying to get it started. It finally fires back up. Uh-oh, the change on the 4 tires. No traffic adjustment. And the 18, his teammate Bob Labonte is on pit road.
And the leader about to come in. First and second about to come into the pits as Bobby Labonte gets his services back out. Here comes Earnhardt and Rudd.
And here comes Earnhardt and Rudd and Steve Park. 35 miles an hour again is pit road speed.
No speedometers in these cars. They must do it with a tachometer. Bill Weber, they're coming to you.
Well, the guys that have been running up front now come down pit road 1-2. Earnhardt and the 28 of Ricky Rudd. Earnhardt slides into his stall, so does Rudd. Right side for the 3. It'll be a 4-tire stop for both cars. Earnhardt has not said a thing on the radio. Ricky said his car's been getting better and better throughout the afternoon. Left side's on the 3. They swing around. Left side's on the 28, cleaning the windshield on the 28. Now the 28's away and the 3. Identical stop, virtually identical on the stopwatch.
They come out the same way they came in. And we have 200 laps to go here. The 31 car of Mike Skinner also works down pit road as Mark Martin gets service on the left side of his Valvoline Ford, and he is on his way again. Down to Jerry as Skinner pits.
Mike Skinner has been cutting the brake coolers on and off and the rear end coolers on and off. He's been very busy in the race car. The crew told him, if you have 9 volts or more on the meter, we will not change the battery on a green flag stop. If you have 9 volts, and Mike said it is barely at 9 volts, so they are not going to change the battery. Need a caution flag, not to lose a lap. 4 tires, just put the keys away.
18.3 second stop for the Mike Skinner crew. And guess who's in 3rd place on the lead lap?
Yeah, and as soon as those other 2 cars stop, he'll be in 1st place. And they are Michael Waltrip and
how long can he go without a pit stop is the question. The 36 car of Schrader is the leader.
yeah, that's what I was trying to say. It would be good, Rusty, as Benny had pointed out, after everybody made their green flag pit stops, that he can get a caution. That's what he would like to have.
I mean, he's only been out there for 50 laps right now, so he can run easily probably another 100 laps. And as good as this car has been, I think this car will, as soon as these other cars get some laps on their tires, and he should be about as good as any of them.
There's the leader, Ken Schrader, who is leading for the first time in the NASCAR Winston Cup 2000 season. Michael Waltrip is second, then Rusty, Earnhardt, and Rudd.
Into the line, there's the leader, Kenny Schrader. Said, Bill Weber, he's there in front of you now.
They talked it over. They are going to try and score. The spotter is going to watch the pace car. Rusty definitely wants to get the 4 if they can. Good stop on the right side. The pace car coming out of 4. Now they swing to the left side. Jack underneath. Left front is on. Left rear is on. Tightening the lug nuts. Rusty is away. He'll easily beat the pace car from the outhouse to the penthouse for these guys.
Man, oh man, you're so right, Bill. How the complexion of this race changed so dramatically with just a single caution play.
Man, because two cars had not made pit stops. Kenny Schrader and Michael Waltrip had not made pit stops, and Rusty had gotten back on the lead lap, and so it's going to be just three cars on the lead lap. Now, some of these that had made pit stops will not stop, so they'll be in front of the other cars, but technically they'll be a lap down.
And this is why the 10th caution is currently waving.
There we see contact between Jimmy Spencer and Tony Stewart, I believe.
Like it.
Oh, man, he spins right on. Yeah. Jeff Burton goes by on the outside.
No other car involved, but man, it was close. And a little contact there between Elliott and Martin on the slowdown. The 7 car of Michael Waltrip makes a pit stop, John.
Michael Waltrip stayed out a couple extra laps in order to lead a lap and pick up 5 bonus points. The 4 tires changed. The only problem with the car is a little bit loose at the end of the run, so they made an air pressure adjustment. Very fine.
This caution flag, a big break for Mike Skinner, and the green came back out. The engine began to sputter and miss. He wouldn't have run but a few more laps, but they just came in a moment ago. Changed the battery in the left side, signal up by 35 seconds. But Skinner's changed the battery, and he will head back onto the racetrack, trying to get his first ever Winston Cup victory. Back with more live coverage from Martinsville in just a moment.
Well, what a break for Rusty Wallace. The yellow flag that he needed. The big question, of course, now is how he shapes up with regard to fuel if they have a concerted long period of green flag running. The experts, and who's going to argue with Benny Parsons and Ned Jarrett? Not me, that's for sure, reckoning that Rusty's got a good 100 laps probably in the car before he will need to stop for fuel. And if this race goes 100 laps without another yellow flag, you can call me Rens van Ryan, because I will be a Dutchman. So Michael Waltrip and Kenny Schrader then, the two men who managed to stay out longest. Michael Waltrip, as you saw, picking up that point for leading a lap. And the car's now behind the Pontiac safety car, led by Dale Earnhardt. Earnhardt is in 4th, Ricky Rudd 5th, Tony Stewart 6th, Dale Jarrett up to 7th, ahead of Bobby Labotti, Jeff Gordon and Ward Burton. But Kenny Schrader and Rusty Wallace now, the 2 cars left on the lead lap. And that will leave this race plumb in Rusty Wallace's experienced short track hands for the taking. Again, and it's 35 miles an hour from when you come off turn 3 to when you exit into turn 2's exit area. And that is more than 2/3 of the race car distance. Huge crowd here as ever at Martinsville. This expert and very enthusiastic Virginia audience, and for most of these guys this will be their 1 year's trip to a Winston Cup race. The average spend now, they reckon, per head to a Winston Cup race is getting somewhere in the region of $500 or $600 average, and that is not just the entry costs, which are actually pretty reasonable. But if you take a family of 4, you're going to be looking at spending about $1,000 to get in and to stay overnight. And most of these people will have driven a distance that will need an overnight stay somewhere. They then reckon maybe up to another $500 each in terms of memorabilia and so on at the racetracks, and some reasonably slim running budgets, which are just in millions of dollars as opposed to tens of millions of dollars. The teams actually have far greater revenue than they get from just their sponsorship. And that is why the multi-car teams, and we're thinking here particularly of enterprises like Hendrick Motorsports, Joe Gibbs Racing, and the Earnhardt and Petty empires have such phenomenal car building expertise at their home bases. They'll build some 30 or 40 cars a year. Ready to go green again. Let's listen to them race.
Flag has just come out here at Martinsville Speedway to resume the Goodies Body Paint 500. We're watching the cars running up front now. The number 3 car of Dale Earnhardt is actually 4th in the running And a similar situation happened at Texas last week. The leader of the race is back in the middle of the field. There's the leader, Ken Schrader.
Okay, most everyone had made a pit stop excepting Ken Schrader and Michael Walker. Okay, when the caution came out, everybody else was at least one lap down, excepting Rusty Wallace. He had gotten back on the lead lap, so now there were 3 cars that were on the lead lap, excepting those that had made the pit stop. And when those 3 cars made their pit stop, they had to come out behind those that were technically on the lead lap. So that's what we got going on. We got about 13 cars like that are almost a lap down, but not quite.
And the 16th place car of John Andretti is right ahead of the leader.
Now you see the 2 car in the 36. That is a battle for the lead. I know you don't understand that, but that, trust me, is a battle for the lead.
And the car number 43 of John Andretti is fighting for his lap to stay on the lead lap. He was one of those cars, and now he's about to go a lap down.
In 16th position. Down to Bill Weber.
Well, Rusty Wallace obviously battling for the lead right now. Before the green flag came back out, Robin Pemberton got on the radio and he said, the traffic here is going to be terrible. Please be extra patient. Rusty drove down the front stretch under caution, gave his team a big thumbs up. As they lined up for the restart, someone jumped on Rusty's radio and said, this is going to be horrendous. Rusty said, I know. One other note on this team, car owner Roger Penske is here. He got here about an hour before the green flag fell. He flew in from Nazareth, Pennsylvania, where the kart race was postponed.
Because of bad weather, including a little snow. Now, here is Rusty right on the back bumper of the 36 car.
And John Andretti still hanging tough on the outside, trying to stay on the lead lap.
The last driver with back-to-back wins at a short track was Jarrett in '97 at Bristol and in Richmond. Rusty, of course, won at Bristol a few weeks ago. And Kenny Schrader is leading for only the 2nd time in his career at Martinsville in 31 starts. The last time he led here was in September of 1990, almost a decade ago.
Ward Burton has moved up in the NASCAR Winston Cup points, the 2nd spot as they run now.
And John Andretti got back on the lead lap. You see, now Rusty passing Schrader on the outside.
Rusty Wallace going for the lead once again. And he's going to get it. Car of Jeff Burton running right there with this group of cars is in 17th position, a lap down.
And Dale Earnhardt in 4th place is 15 1/3 seconds behind Rusty Wallace.
Well, almost a wreck a couple of laps ago. Look at Skinner get loose.
Comes off the corner. I don't think he realizes that Joe Nemechek is there, and when he tries to steer away from Nemechek, almost spun out. Now Rusty drives on the inside of John Andretti.
And once again tries to put him a lap down. The 3rd place car is Michael Waltrip. There he is.
Dale Earnhardt was 3rd. Yes, he is 4th place car. 15 seconds behind the leader.
Michael Waltrip trying to turn his season around. He's 29th in points. A year ago at this time, he was 10th in the point standings.
You're talking about Earnhardt. He's way out in front. He has clear sailing out in front of him. We'll see how much distance there is here. We'll see him come up with that corner there in a little bit. There he is, 4th place car. DJ not too far behind him. So they're not in danger of going a lap down at all now because Rusty back there in that traffic.
Well, yeah, he's probably better off back where he is now, out of that traffic, than he would be up there racing with Rusty Wallace, because Rusty has his hands full with all those cars trying to stay on the lead lap.
That's Dale Jarrett. He's 4th.
5th.
I'm sorry, 5th. Tony Stewart is 6th.
Now John Andretti is still racing hard with Rusty Wallace.
He really is trying to get back on that lead lap. He was one of those that was a victim of circumstances.
It took just 74 laps for Rusty Wallace to get his 2 laps back that he lost when the tire blew.
I'm sure a lot of fans out there remember seeing, I mentioned that Michael Waltrip was running in 19th position and he got lapped. And you say, well, how in the world did he get up there and running in second place? Well, he stayed out there and didn't pit. When you pit here at Martinsville on the green flag, you're going to lose 2 laps.
77 of Robert Presley, 19th, a lap down. There is Michael, who started back in 34th position and finds himself up in 3rd. His best finish this year was at the other short track races we've had. At Bristol, he started 23rd and finished 11th. His best finish here at Martinsville came in at this race in 1991. He finished 7th.
As you can see, there are 15 cars on the lead lap. And here's the battle between Mark Martin and Ward Burton.
That's for 10th, Ned.
I saw some smoke out of the 6 car, I believe.
Might have been tire rub. I don't know what it could have been. Let's see if this. I saw it too, Benny. I don't know where it came from.
Looks like maybe the right front. Some pretty good damage to the right front of Mark Martin's car.
6, 22, and 12 are all battling for position. 10th, 11th, and 12th. Let's go down to John Kernan once again.
You brought up the point that Mark Martin, you saw a little puff of smoke. Well, one of the drivers behind him radioed his crew just a few laps ago and said, Mark's blowing out some grease. Mark's blowing out some grease. So we'll have to keep an eye on the 6 car. So far, been monitoring them on the radio and haven't heard anything as of yet from that team. But it has been reported that there's grease or some kind of fluid coming out of the 6 car.
There's Brett Bodine in the car number 11. Brett is 2 laps down. He is being shown in the 28th position.
You know, as we watch Rusty Wallace, he has had the dominant car all day. And look at right behind him, John Andretti. Now, it would lead me to believe that John Andretti, that he should drive away from Andretti. I think Rusty Wallace is really, really taking it easy right now. I think he's terrified of what might happen to that right front tire again if he runs that hard.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, there's no reason to run hard. He has a 2.5-second lead on Kenny Schrader, and he has about a 12-second lead on Dale Earnhardt.
160 laps to go here at the Goodies Body Pain 500. It's Rusty Wallace out front. Has completed 344 laps so far, with Rusty Wallace leading and the Pennzoil Copter Cam providing the aerial shots. So if we stay green, guys, are they going to need another pit stop?
Yes, I think they will.
I think it'll be close, but I think they will.
And if that happens, we'll see some guys probably trying to short stop and change 4 tires. And we'll see some guys, we see some contact there between the 60 of Rich Bickle and Elliott in the 94.
Elliott is on the lead lap in 15th spot. Will be the next car to go a lap down if Rusty can get around him.
Rusty has nowhere to go there right now. There's the 60 car of Rich Bickle and Elliott running side by side. A lot of heavy traffic in front of him. Now, we mentioned Dale Earnhardt there a moment ago. He was, over 15 seconds behind, but he's cut that down as a result of Rusty being in that traffic. He's cut it down to, let's see, it comes across the start-finish line now at 12.7. But now Earnhardt is running in on the traffic at the tail end of the pack. For a while, he had just clear sailing out there.
And we're watching the battle for 6th position here as Ricky Rudd and Tony Stewart try to decide who's going to run there. That Home Depot car looks like it's been through a shredder almost.
Yeah, he's not going to win any beauty prizes when this thing's over. He might win the prize. It will certainly not be a beauty prize.
There is the 88 car of Dale Jarrett, who is running in 5th position. Let's get more on Rudd as we go to the pits and Bill Weber.
Well, Ricky Rudd certainly was optimistic this morning, and his crew chief Michael McSwain said their car was sporty. Now, if you scrape some of the black paint off that car, you might find Thai neon orange underneath. because when Ricky Rudd had his auction and sold everything from Rudd Performance Motorsports, he didn't sell everything. In fact, he kept that chassis that he's running here today. He ran it in 6 or 8 races late last season, liked it, wanted to take it with him, brought it here to Martinsville. They've been good basically since they got off the truck. By the way, when that car was at Rudd Performance Motorsports, it was chassis number 28. No kidding.
Really? How those guys come up with all that useless information now.
Car race here at Martinsville, at Loudon, Richmond, Darlington, Phoenix, and Homestead.
A little contact there between Tony Stewart and the 28 car. Of course, this is nothing unusual for the 20 and the 28 here at Martinsville, is it?
Last year it was a different driver in the 28, though. Kenny Irwin was driving the Ben, and the 20 car, they did have some fun.
Rudd has a good run here, trying to take over that 6th position, and does. Well, let's go under the Texaco Haviland Ford and see how those brakes are glowing.
They appear to me to be getting a little bit brighter, but we have seen those rotors stay red all the way around the racetrack when we've had these chassis cameras on before. Still hard to believe how much that front tire flexes when he goes down in the corner.
But boy, the technology has improved so much in the braking area. You know, years ago, you couldn't use them a tenth of what they can use them today and expect them to be there at the end, have any brakes at the end of the race.
Ricky Rudd, you see, has moved into the 6th position. Once again, that's our Vestas onboard camera, our chassis cam, our brake cam. As you can see, when Rudd applies the brakes, that rotor just turns cherry red immediately. See, Kevin LePage is back in the race, the FamilyClick.com.
Yeah, there are only 2 cars that are not on the racetrack. One of them is Mike Bliss. He's shown as off the racetrack, and the 66 car of Darrell Waltrip is shown as out of the race. He will finish in the last position.
Now, there are a number of cars. Kevin LePage is 37, 16 laps down, and Kenny Irwin is 34 laps down, and Kyle Petty is 57 laps down. As we watch Rusty Wallace, the leader, he's still in traffic. He hasn't gotten around Bill Elliott yet to put him a lap down.
The biggest deficit to make up is Kenny Wallace, who's 204 behind that. He's got a way to go. He was involved in our first caution.
About the 3rd or 4th lap.
Yeah. And 8th and 9th right now being occupied by Bobby Labonte and Jeff Gordon. Gordon comes into this race 12th in the point standings, and that's the lowest in the point standings he's been early in the season since '94. And Jerry, I posed the question a few laps ago. Can they go without making a pit stop if we go green the rest of the way? What's your assessment?
Well, Bob's survey says that if we check the top 4 or 5 cars and look at their fuel mileage calculations, that if we stay green, they will need 1 more pit stop. But that 1 pit stop will come with between 20 and 35 laps to go, so it'll be a sprint race after that final stop. If we stay green, 1 more stop is anywhere on lap 360 to 375.
Okay.
And so Ricky Rudd, we've noticed, has that very good race car all day. Watch as he closes in on Dale Jarrett and Dale Earnhardt. He and Earnhardt seem like they've run together all day long.
Oh, wow.
I wondered how he's going to pull that off. Now Rudd gets hung behind Spencer and
a spinner.
Spin just ahead of Gordon. That's Bobby Labonte, who was running an 8th spot.
And can he get it cranked up to save a lap? No, he didn't.
Well, that means that they pit now and can go the rest of the way. And it also means that all those cars that were ahead of Rusty Wallace will be able to go around the racetrack and fall in behind him.
That's right, because Dale Earnhardt was 11 seconds behind Rusty, and right now he's going to be about 11 hundredths of a second behind Rusty Wallace. Here comes Rusty already headed towards pit road.
Rusty and Michael Waltrip and Ken Schrader coming in. Here's John Kernan.
Second place car, Michael Waltrip, is in a 4-tire change, also a track bar adjustment. The car had gotten a little bit loose on them. Right sides are already on. They come around to the left side. Safety goes up, 1 pump, 2 pumps, cars in the air. Left side's going on. There go the lug nuts and Bill Weber. Most of these guys should be able to reach the finish for here. It's 4 tires and fuel for Rusty Wallace. Back to the original air pressure in the left front, and the 2 rear tires up a half pound in all 3. Rusty's away. Has to watch out for the 40. Jerry Pine.
This would be the final stop, as you said, for most of these cars, including Ward Burton, right side tires. Ward saying it's tight in the middle. He is spinning the rear tires coming off. They've made a slight air pressure change. Left side tires going up the Caterpillar Pontiac. Now Ward's going to be very careful. The 40 car Marlin right in front of him. He squeezes by Sterling Marlin right in front of Jeff Gordon, and he's away.
Bobby Hamilton comes out, so does Sterling Marlin. Let's take a look and see what happened to Bobby Labonte, and we'll see if there's some contact between Bobby and Jeff Gordon.
Well, they're going in the third corner. Right there's the contact, and we see the damage on the right front fin of Jeff Gordon's car. And around goes Bobby Labonte, and he's now lapped down.
With 366 laps complete now, the Goodies Body Paint 500 were under caution number 11.
Who started this race on pole and has led it for most of the distance now. He also spent a period where he cut a tire as the race leader. He had a tire go down on him and dropped 2 laps down, fought back to take one of those, and then had a great tire change to fight his way back into the lead. So he's been leading now from Dale Earnhardt and Michael Waltrip. Let's pick up the action again in just a moment with our ESPN colleagues.
Back at Martinsville Speedway in Virginia, the Goodies Body Paint 500, 369 laps are completed as the pace car pulls off the racetrack. We are set to go back to racing. It's Rusty Wallace, Michael Waltrip, Ken Schrader, Dale Earnhardt, and Ricky Rudd.
And as they get the green flag, Bob, we need to mention the fact that John Andretti did get his lap back on this caution, so now we have 16 cars on the lead lap.
Michael Waltrip runs second. His last top 5 was a little over a year ago at Daytona. His career best short track finish in 107 races, 5th. That was in Bristol in April of '94. And Rusty Wallace is sideways as Jeff Burton gets his lap back.
Yeah, I think they made a little contact there, and that's why Rusty got sideways.
Now Mike Skinner's up there. He's a couple laps down, trying to get a lap back.
Now that puts Jeff Burton back on the lead lap.
Yep.
He is in the 17th position.
And there's Dale Earnhardt trying to get on the inside of Kenny Schrader and take over 3rd spot, and he does.
And does with ease. Schrader's last top 5 was at Richmond in September of '98. He finished 4th.
Well, Ricky Craven is in the pits, a stop-and-go penalty, and we understand that Steve Park might also get one. He's getting the black flag for passing on the wrong side. That would mean passing on the inside. Before you get to the start-finish line on a restart, you got to pass on the outside.
Looking back from our leader Wallace to second place Waltrip.
Right on his back bumper, Waltrip's back bumper, is Dale Earnhardt, as Steve Park comes down pit road in his Pennzoil Chevrolet to take that penalty. Costly one here, boy, at Martinsville. That pit road is long.
Mike Skinner 1 lap down now, 23rd position. There are 17 cars, as you can see on your rundown up in the upper left, on the lead lap. 125 laps to go. Rusty has led 282 circuits so far. There have been 7 leaders and 13 lead changes. The leaders have been Wallace, Earnhardt, Schrader, Skinner, Bobby Labonte, Ward Burton, and Michael Waltrip for a lap. Average speed 72.752 miles an hour.
Well, Jeff Burton has pulled away from Rusty Wallace and Mike Skinner, so right now Jeff Burton has a good race car. He's the fastest on the track.
When Rusty Wallace had that flat tire, and something has happened. I don't know exactly what has happened, but there's something happened. It's probably to the brakes. He maybe just taking it easy to the brakes, or maybe they've noticed something that they've told him, you need to take it easy with the brakes.
Well, I'm sure one thing would be, don't let that happen again.
Rusty Wallace recorded 4 straight wins here in 93 to 96. And now Earnhardt looking for second.
Now, Earnhardt was faster than Rusty before this caution came out, but Rusty was in heavy traffic, so it don't have that much to do with it.
And the Rich Bickle and Robbie Gordon cars have just come together, and that puts Bickle's car down in the grassy area on the left side of the curb.
And he's stuck. And a caution flag is once again out.
And Jeff Burton is going to be able to get that lap back, of course.
Mike Skinner got one of his back.
Yep. Bickle's car's over in turn number 2. There it is, near the exit of pit lane.
And I think with all the rain we had yesterday that it's just so soft there and he's stuck. Because I did see the car fire.
Here's a replay.
And there's a contact.
Oh.
Wow. Robbie Gordon, and he goes in, and not a lot of contact with the inside retaining wall. Most of the contact was with Robbie Gordon's car.
Nevertheless, with Bickle's car stuck down there, we do have another caution working for us here at Martinsville. Well, the NASCAR 2000 season rolls on, and here is a NASCAR 2000 moment brought to you by Hasbro Winter Circle, and here's Bill Weber.
Well, Bob, Rusty Wallace has 6 wins here at Martinsville, but he believes a year ago he could have gotten win number 7. He had a dominant car. He led 177 laps in the race here last spring. But on a late race caution, he made a pit stop. And here's what happened. Front tire changer Bill Wilborn, a veteran and one of the best on pit road, went over the wall. And when he took his air gun and pulled the trigger, the air that discharges through this vent right here,
Martinsville, just half a lap into the restarted Goodies Body Paint 500. 300 and nearly 90 laps in, and a very sideways Michael Waltrip there has to check it all up getting out of turn 4 as Rusty Wallace leads this race again. Michael Waltrip was second place at the restart. Past him have gone Bobby Labonte and Dale Earnhardt and Dale Jarrett. Well, let's pick up the action now with Benny Parsons, with Ned Jarrett, and first with Bob Jenkins.
Just a little more than 100 laps to go here at Martinsville Speedway. There's the leader of the race, Rusty Wallace. A 1 1/4 second lead over Dale Earnhardt. As usual, the restart was exciting. Watch the 18 and the 7.
Michael and Ricky Rudd. Second spot. Well, but we got one for sure here on the front stretch as Dale Jarrett and Ricky Rudd got together coming off of turn 4 when it bottled up in front of them.
Brett Bodine is involved.
And we see Rudd after all that great run he's had there. Now he's going a lap down.
Oh, and
Bobby Labonte did get his lap back, but boy, did he take a chance.
he almost hit the back of Brett Bodine big time. Rudd has yet to get turned around and headed in the right direction. Now he does. So Rudd's good run suffers a major setback.
Oh man, his car suffers a major setback as well. And that car really, I don't think, had a scratch on it before this deal. Let's see if we can see what happened. Ned, did you see it?
I was looking at it. There were a lot of cars that were jumbled up together up there, and the brakes put on by some, and I think Ricky had to back off, and DJ was right on his back bumper there, and so I don't know which came first.
And we see the
Here,
32.
all right, look at it this way. Okay?
All right.
Okay, Ricky hits the 10 car, then DJ just barely hits 28 and comes to a stop, knocks him back the other way. And
watch the 32 car, the tied car. Now, he hits the right front. He does all the damage to the right front of Rudd's car. Rebecca's onboard camera. Oh, around. Man, that's a sick feeling.
Especially after you've had such a good run here today. Let's watch Bobby Labonte and what he does to get his lap back. Look how close he comes there to Brett Bodine.
Never see Spencer driving away and almost made contact, might have made contact, and then with Brett Bodine. He dodged 2 bullets.
And the damage at the front of the 28 car is major, and they try to get the sheet metal straightened out as the 18 car of Bobby Labonte, now that he's back on the lead lap, will make a pit stop, get fresh tires, and make a run for it.
So Rusty Wallace continues to lead from Dale Earnhardt, Ken Schrader, Michael Waltrip, Jeremy Mayfield and Tony Stewart. Bobby Labonte, if his heart wasn't in his mouth as he made that run for the line, then he has got colder blood in his veins than most mortals. Ricky Rudd, Brett Bodine and Dale Jarrett then getting snagged in that one on lap 390. And now we're starting to see here exactly what happened in the portion of the race that we missed earlier on this evening before we came live to Martinsville. Yellow flag, restart yellow flag, restart yellow flag. It just takes time to get settled down and into some kind of line astern and regular racing pattern to get the cars back up to speed, to get the temperatures back up into the tires, and to get the drivers back settled down a little bit. Well, the 28 car comes in, and insult to injury, Ricky Rudd's car being run over by the front of the car that carries the sponsorship with which he has been so long associated, of course, in the 10 car, and that was the Tide car that ran over the nose of his machine. Scott Pruitt did all that damage to the front sheet metal, and Ricky Rudd, well, as we were hearing earlier from the pits, probably still has orange Tide paintwork underneath that black and red of the Texaco Havoline colours. Well, Scott Pruitt seemed to have come away from that one fairly unscathed. They've cut away some of the sheet metal at the front of Ricky Rudd's car. Of course, that would be instant death on a super speedway here on this half-mile Virginia oval. It's not quite so much of a peril, but the most important thing is he does not lose brake cooling hoses, especially on that heavily worked right front corner. Bobby Labonte being held there for the field to come back. No, it's not. He's come out behind Dale Jarrett. So somebody else being held there by the man with the paddle. That's the Winston Cup official who's got a handheld device rather like a table tennis bat, a ping pong bat, one side of which is red saying stop, one side of which is green saying go. And if you ever hear them referring to not stopping for the paddle, which is a penalty, that's exactly what they're talking about. It's when you have temporary roadworks. We see those in the UK, slightly larger than that though actually, because race car drivers are slightly more perceptive to things around them than your average car driver, with all due respect to everybody else out there. So Rusty Wallace leading the race then as we get to the 400 lap distance. 7 race leaders. Rusty Wallace, the leadingest driver, if you like. He's led nearly 300 of the 400 laps that we're just about to put into the books, and 13 cautions for over 85 and fast approaching 90 laps of the 500 lap race distance. So 90 of the nearly 400 laps we've done already have been done under caution. You can tell what kind of series of caution-strewn mayhem there was before you joined us live. Well, there you can see the very out-of-line front end of the 28 car, and similarly out-of-line bodywork all over the place. You just saw the Tide car getting ready to rejoin there at the exit to the pit. That was Scott Pruitt being held to the end of the queue. And of course now we will be going for 2x2 restarts all the way around. And goodness me, back into the pits again, trying to get work done here before they throw the green flag. In comes Ricky Rudd. Sticker tyre on that right front corner, new tyres all round, but still some work to do to shore up that damaged right front corner. And here's how it all happened again. Just behind Steve Park, they get all chicked up. Rudd gets spun by Dale Jarrett. Jarrett gets hit from behind, hits Rudd. Rudd gets hit again, and so it goes. And there, over the top, went Scott Pruitt's Tide car. And further back, well, the race to the stripe for Bobby Labonte to get his lap back. Quite impressive. Ricky Rudd goes back out on track as we get ready to pick it up with our American colleagues.
And he was running in 5th. Here it is from DJ's on board. So that has brought out our 13th caution of the afternoon, the record for this spring race here at Martinsville, 14 back in 1998.
So Dale Jarrett there, you just saw the onboard replay courtesy of his camera, and dodging the bullet there. Dale Jarrett in 9th place at the moment, and still under caution. So Rusty Wallace with now more than 300 laps as the race leader. Dale Earnhardt has led most after that, and he's led 42, Kenny Schrader 22. And we heard reference earlier on from Bill Webber to last year's spring race, where Rusty Wallace led over 370 laps, 300 of the laps, and then failed to win it right at the end. Well, let's hear again now Rusty Wallace picking up the action as we go green.
Just gone back to green, and Michael Waltrip had a bad restart. Now gets it going, but he jammed up things considerably, may have gotten hit in the process. Rusty Wallace comes down and leads the 402nd lap. But now look how close Earnhardt is as he closes in. Take a look at the restart again. We'll see what happened to Michael.
We see him back in about the 4th car on the outside, and he hits the gas and it just doesn't go. It's like a vapor lock or something.
He was hit by Jeremy Mayfield pretty substantially in the rear of the end of the car.
He's dropped back to 9th right now.
3rd place car is Ken Schrader, but there are a few cars between 2nd and 3rd. There's Michael.
It's a battle for the 9th position. And Gordon's on the inside, trying to take it away. The trouble is, once these cars get on the inside, here comes Bobby Hamilton. He's going to try to follow Jeff Gordon.
More from John Kernan on Michael Waltrip.
On that restart, when Michael Waltrip went to shift to third gear, it wasn't there. He lost third gear, so he had to go immediately to fourth, so that's why he had such a poor restart. No third gear.
Michael having a good day, though, although he's losing spots here that's going to drop him out of the top 10.
Ooh, he's still having trouble getting off of turn 4. He's driving his heart out and putting that accelerator down as deep as he can every time that he can.
On board with Sterling Marlin, who's 12th. Schrader and Mayfield are contesting the third position.
And I believe we're going to be able to say, give that race to, not so quick. It's not so quick. I start to say Jeremy Mayfield, but I don't know. Here comes Tony Stewart right behind these two.
Another good day for the Roger Penske team. They're running first and third. Gets the spot from Schrader. Now here comes Stewart and Mark Martin. We'll jump on board with Mark.
Time to
spin over in turn 2.
Lots of cars had to stop, not so many involved.
Robbie Gordon and Dave Blaney, and Rusty Wallace gets through it.
Johnny Benson racing hard to get a lap back. Let's see, almost ran over Dale Earnhardt going into the turn, but he's not going to beat Rusty back to the start-finish line.
No. Well, this is our record-tying number of cautions. 14. There were 14 in this race in 1998. Now we look to the overall track record, which is 17 set during the second race of the year in 98.
Now they got to make some real quick decisions. Right now, the crew chiefs, the drivers, are we going to pit? Are we going to stay out? Do we give up this track position? What do you think? We'll stay out.
Yep.
Let's see if we can tell what might have happened to Robbie Gordon.
Mark Martin came into pits as we watched what happened here.
We see when Robbie Gordon gets tagged from behind, he just nails that gas and puts up a smoke screen that's unbelievable. He hides in that smoke screen.
Gordon operating with the new crew chief this week here at at Martinsville. Jerry Baxter has taken over duties from Fred Graves.
And he did not hit the outside retaining wall. Close. All right, Mike Bliss to Viagra onboard camera. He just stops and says, okay, let's see.
As you indicated, Ned, we do have a few cars that are making pit stops, those running toward the back of the lead lap.
Excepting Mark Martin. He was running up towards the front, and he did make a pit stop. Michael Waltrip did, and so did John Andretti. And Waltrip was going backwards, so that was a good move by him. And Andretti was already near the back of the lead pack, so good move.
Mark Martin was running 6th before he came in for the pit stop, and we'll drop him back to the 14th or 15th position. There's the 14th caution of the day here at Martinsville Speedway in Virginia.
So they're going for a comfort break then while the yellow flags fly. No respite for the drivers. Rusty Wallace leading. Martin diving into the pits there from 6th position. Well, how will that work out? Was he short on fuel? Surely not, because he stopped the same time as everyone else. Did he have some other kind of problem? We'll wait and see. Bill Elliott was 12th when he dived into the pits. John Andretti was down in 17th position, so you can understand why they went in. And Michael Waltrip as well down the order. So Robbie Gordon and Mike Bliss getting tagged up. Well, Robbie Gordon getting tagged round, rather suspected, since the first car that came by him was what was left of Kyle Petty's 44 car. There might have been a fraction of contact there, but certainly it was Gordon who laid smoke. Works for John Alesi in a Formula One race, but I'm not quite sure that it's such a smart idea exiting 4 on a half-mile oval. Hey, be that as it may, he's a single-seater driver. But again, they go green with less than 100 to go. Rusty Wallace leads it by 3 feet from Dale Earnhardt. Wallace leads then from Dale Earnhardt, and lapped traffic in between them. It's the 10 car of Johnny Benson. Didn't get his lap back in the race to the stripe from Rusty Wallace. Got past Dale Earnhardt though, and that's bad news for Earnhardt. The 2 and 3 cars, first and second on the racetrack. Swell car of Jeremy Mayfield is in third place. So the first 4 cars, first, third and fourth in this queue are 1, 2, 3 in the race. Steve Park is a lap down. 36 car of Kenny Schrader, the yellow M&M's car. There he is. He is the 4th place man. Don't worry too much about the 31 car. He's not in this one either. Tony Stewart is 5th in the Home Depot Pontiac. Ward Burton 6th in the Caterpillar Pontiac. Let's get ready then to go back and join our American colleagues Benny Parsons, Ned Jarrett and Bob Jenkins.
We're back to racing here at Martinsville, and the battle right now best on the racetracks for second spot, Dale Earnhardt and Jeremy Mayfield. Also some good racing going on back here between the 36 and the 24 4th spot, which Tony Stewart gets from Kenny Schrader.
And Ward Burton now coming inside of Mike Skinner. He's trying to move up through there.
Skinner again is still 2 laps down in 22nd spot. Ward is 7th.
Bob, we mentioned the fans of Mike Skinner say, well, you said he got one of his laps back. Well, he did, but then he lost it back into the pits. He was so far back that when he came into the pits at the back of the line, he didn't quite beat the pace car out, so he lost that lap back.
Watching Dale Jarrett now running alongside Mike Skinner from the Pennzoil Copter Cam.
And Jeff Gordon comes in there as well.
Jeremy Mayfield trying to take second spot from Earnhardt.
He has a fast race car right now.
Yes,
Jeremy Mayfield does have.
It's 1 car between the leader Wallace and second place Earnhardt. That would be Johnny Benson, who's in 20th spot.
Ward Burton really working on Ken Schrader back behind this battle. Battle for second, and that battle for 5th back behind him, as Mayfield gets a little squirrely off the corner. Here that battle is. Ward gets up beside of Schrader.
Ward Burton had his best career short track finish at Bristol earlier this year, finished in 3rd spot, and right now he takes 5th from Schrader. Perhaps the door opens for Dale Jarrett.
Well, Schrader chose to stay on the high side going into turn 3, and it did open the door for DJ to move down on the inside. Now, whether he can make a pass or not, we'll see, but it looks like he might be able to.
And obviously, as you can see, Jeff Gordon is right there to try to take advantage of that door being opened. This is a battle for the 7th position. Give it to Jeff Gordon.
When this race is over, you can boot up your computer and go to the NASCAR website, www.nascar.com, and get all the statistics you need regarding this race. And you can also, as we get toward Talladega, take advantage of another feature of the NASCAR online site, the Garage Cam. You can look at everything that's going on in the garage area, eavesdrop.
I wonder if we can take these cars into the Ford dealers tomorrow and get a set of brakes for $89.95, front or rear.
Well, Rusty may need to do something about that, right, Bill?
Well, they could, Bob. You know, we talked about all the success Rusty's had here with his 6 victories, and then we talked about some of the disappointment, that brake dust incident. And remember, in the fall race here in 1977, Rusty, or 1997 rather, Rusty was black flagged as the leader for jumping the restart. Well, Benny, about 45 laps ago, you speculated that he looked a little more tentative in traffic, and he might be having a braking problem. Well, I followed up on that, and here's what's going on. Front tire changer Bill Wilburn, after the last caution flag stop, told Rusty, be careful because your right front rotor is badly chewed up. Now, I talked to Billy about that rotor. I said, is it the worst you've ever seen? He says, On a good car, it's the worst he's ever seen. They've had bad handling cars where you've had to use the brakes, but on a good car where you have to use the flat, this is the worst he's ever seen. So with 70 laps to go, it's something for Rusty and everybody else to think about.
Yes, indeed. This race is far from over. We're looking at the speeds. Last lap, it was Dale Jarrett with the fastest lap. And now we go clear down to Mark Martin.
Well, that really shouldn't be a surprise because Mark Martin stopped on this last caution flag, or one of these last couple of caution flags, and changed tires. He's been in the pits and has fresher tires than Rusty Wallace or Dale Earnhardt or Tony Stewart.
There is Martin back in the 10th position. The 43 car of John Andretti had the fastest lap last time. Of course, this depends greatly upon where the car is in terms of traffic.
And the kind of traction to get off the corner when you mash that gas.
Here's a battle for 14th position between John Andretti and Michael Waltrip.
Now, both of those drivers stopped during the last caution, as did Mark Martin, and put fresh tires on their cars. They're running about 10 seconds behind the leader.
And the interval between first and second a lap ago was 1.7 seconds, and now it's up to almost 1.9, and Jerry Nadeau is in the wall. Is this going to bring out a caution?
Yep. Expect we'll see pit stops now. We'll see.
So we are setting a record for the spring race here at Martinsville in terms of cautions. We slow down for the 15th time today. The pace car has picked up the leader of the race, Rusty Wallace, and now we're going to see what the decision is regarding stopping.
It looks like Rusty's coming.
Mark Martin might not, because he stopped during that last one. Mark Martin did not stop.
So some good track position for Mark as the others come down at 35 miles an hour. We go to John Kernan.
Jeremy Mayfield likes the way the car feels, so they're just going to change 4 tires, no fuel at all. Mayfield running in the 3rd position, wants to get up and challenge his teammate Rusty Wallace for the win. Dale Jarrett took 2 tires. He's already gone to Bill Weber. They topped off the tank on a 2-car. Rusty is getting 4 tires. Several guys just took 2. They're going to be Rusty out of the pit. This is what they were concerned about during the last caution, that some guys stopped and some guys were going to take 2 if there was another caution. Earnhardt's been off pit road. He left as well.
And it's going to put Rusty back in about 6th position and Earnhardt 7th, the leader of the race. Well, the first off pit road, I should say, is going to be Dale Jarrett among those who did pit, but several did not. All right, back with more live coverage in a moment from Martinsville.
Let's pick up the action and see how our experts see it.
Rusty Wallace came in the lead and out 11th. Now, 5 cars did not make pit stops. They had pitted earlier, so you combine that with the fact that Rusty took 4 tires and lost on track position, drops him 10 positions. Earnhardt lost also 10 positions. Mayfield from 3rd to 10th, Stewart from 4th to 13th, and Ward Burton dropped from 5th to 16th. And Jerry has more on Ward Burton.
He came in 5th and now back in the 16th spot. The car rolled off the jack. They had a great pit stop going to change 2 right side tires, came to the left side, and the car rolled forward, twisted off the jack. That cost them an extra about 6 or 7 seconds. By the time they get the car jacked back up and got tires on it, he's at the very back of the lead lap. Tough break. He loses 9 spots on that pit stop.
And you can see the damage where he rolled off the jack right between the 2 and the 2. The damage to the doors where it rolled off. John Kernan.
Mark Martin decided to stay out this time to get the track position. It was the right call for them because right now they're up front with, I believe, 4 or 5 cars behind them that have about the equal amount of laps on their tires. Martin decided that the last time they pitted, they took on 4 tires and made a chassis adjustment to loosen the car up just a little bit. Here's Bill Weber. During the previous caution, Rusty Wallace was very concerned when he saw those guys come in and get 4 tires when most of the leaders stayed out. He said, you guys have to watch them. These tires are much different, the 4 new ones as opposed to 4 old ones. When the caution came out this time, he was the guy that jumped on the radio and said, we're getting 4. We'll see if that decision pays off in about 59 laps.
Well, they've waved off the green. We'll go one more now before we get the green flag. The 5 cars that did not pit are Mark Martin, Jeff Burton, John Andretti, Michael Waltrip, and Bill Elliott. Those are the top 5, and then Dale Jarrett, who was the first off pit road. On ESPN tomorrow afternoon at 1:30, you can see the Napa 250 for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series from here at Martinsville, the event that was rained out yesterday. Dr. Jerry Punch and
Mark Martin still in the lead then as they're coming around to the yellows, this time from Jeff Burton in the 99 car, and last year's winner John Andretti lines up there in 43. He's in third. Green, green, green. Here they come.
Going to be a test of the car, Benny, and perhaps more importantly, the brakes.
The brakes. And Jeremy Mayfield, his teammate, got out in front of Rusty Wallace, and I'm not sure he can pass Jeremy. These cars are very, very equal.
Well, Jeremy was fast before the caution. He made a great pit stop, took on 4 tires, so he got out first of those that took on 4. So we'll see how all this plays out. A lot of heavy traffic.
Mark Martin is leading for the first time here this afternoon. He's led 8 laps to this point.
I don't know that they can get back through all this traffic to get in front. Jeremy or Rusty or any of these guys.
No, they're not only having to battle the cars that are on the lead lap, but they're having to battle these lap cars as well, and that is holding them up big time.
As a matter of fact, Johnny Benson goes by Jeff Burton. Benson is a lap down, but a couple laps down. Trying his best. He feels like he's faster than Burton. Went by him.
This is the battle for second between Jeff Burton and John Andretti. John Andretti driving for Petty Enterprises, and again we mourn the death of Lee Petty, the patriarch of the Petty family, who died this past week. Services were held on Friday.
What an unbelievable guy Lee Petty was.
He was a great racer and just a fine individual. I've said all week long since he passed away that he set the standard for families in this sport.
That says a lot.
It really does. Done so much.
Andretti is the defending champion of the race. Started second and won last year.
Ever see Jeremy Mayfield gets under the 4 car, takes over that 8th position from Bobby Hamilton. But it took him 6 laps to pass that 1 car.
And it's Jeremy that's moving up faster now than Rusty. Jarrett and Elliott running 5th and 6th.
Michael Waltrip there in front of Bill Elliott, still hanging on to that 4th position.
Been a good run today from Michael Waltrip. Good to see that.
He wisely pitted on that last caution, and that allowed him to stay out on this one and gave him some track position.
When Rusty Wallace was leading the race, we were thinking about the possibility of our first repeat winner for the year 2000. But now with Mark Martin up front, we think about the possibility of continuing this streak of different winners to start the season.
And 88 trying to look on the outside of Bill Elliott. And it looked like that Elliott just felt him out there and gave
either
some room.
felt him or the spotter finally got through to him. Most of the time the spotters will tell him that he was busy trying to get by Michael Waltrip and didn't expect anybody to pull up on the outside of him, I think. And so far, DJ hasn't been able to make that outside work. He comes up there once again. Goes in a little bit deeper than Bill, but he's not getting off the corner. And Bill's hanging on down there on that inside. Meanwhile, Jeremy Mayfield is caught up to Jeff Gordon and is running right behind him there.
And we see that Jeff Gordon now is going to try to go on the inside of DJ since he's having trouble passing Elliott. looks like DJ trying to, he was the aggressor, now he needs to be a little defensive. Well, this is almost like Talladega, Ned. When these two cars get side by side, they just slow down.
Yep.
The Die Hard 500 from Talladega next Sunday on ABC as we continue to cover the Winston Cup Series in the year 2000, NASCAR's longest and fastest racetrack. Restrictor plates are a little smaller, though, for next week, aren't they?
Yeah, they slowed them down. They took about 20 horsepower away from the cars, but they did allow the teams to work on the springs and shock absorbers. So I think the speed will probably be about the same thing.
Well, they continue to run side by side, lap after lap, Gordon and Jarrett.
And Mayfield there he don't know which one to follow. He decided he's going to go with Jarrett. He thinks that he might be able to pull that outside deal off. I don't know. And there comes Bobby Hamilton in the 4 car. He's coming into it. Bill Elliott's pulled away from him since they've been running side by side here.
And finally Jeff Gordon just kind of moves up the racetrack and takes that spot away.
Yeah, here comes Mayfield.
Well, DJ's got his hands full there now, Ned.
Yeah, he does have. Mayfield has 4 fresh tires, and then Bobby Hamilton, he's going to jump right in there too, if he can.
And right behind Hamilton is Wallace. But the lead is being held by Mark Martin. He's about 1.1 seconds ahead of Jeff Burton. In 3rd place is John Andretti, then Michael Waltrip, and Bill Elliott.
Come back to Martinsville, closing stages. Mark Martin leading the race as they are back under caution. Jeff Burton in 2nd spot. John Andretti, last year's winner, still in 3rd place. Well, you want to know why they're at yellow flags? We will rejoin our American team in just a moment. They return from the race and they'll be able to show us exactly what brought out the yellow flags. Again, down in the pits, John Kernan, Bill Webber and Dr. Jerry Punch, and our experts in the booth, Benny Parsons and Ned Jarrett. Leading the team, as ever, will be Bob Jenkins.
They got more. He was just no good on that set of tires, so they came in and they gave Rusty 4 tires. He'll go to the back and try and work his way up. 467 laps on the board. It's going to be a tough battle. Several other cars have been off pit road, including Ward Bird.
And Kenny Schrader among those on the lead lap. This most recent caution, which was the 16th, was because of a spin involving Steve Park, and here it is.
And we see him going in the corner. The yellow car, some contact with Sterling Marlin. Around goes Park.
Park shown back in 24th position, 3 laps down. Now watch this terrific move to get the car headed in the right direction. Fires the car and whoop.
Wow. Tell you what, when Steve Parks win a race, he'll know how to do those donuts in front of the start-finish line on him.
Right. Okay, we're getting the signal. 1 more lap to go, and we'll go back to green.
Martin, Burton, Andretti, Michael Waltrip, and Bill Elliott are your top 5, and 468 laps are completed.
Now, Johnny Benson had passed Mark Martin not too long before this caution came out, so he got 1 of his laps back. He was 2 laps down. He's still 1 lap down.
About 80,000 people on their feet here at Martinsville as they cheer the green flag and the resumption of the Goodies Body Paint 500 on lap 470.
That's Mike Skinner, that Lowe's car on the inside, the blue and yellow car 2 laps down. Trying to get one of them back, racing the leader, Mark Martin.
Mark won't fight him too hard. Says, okay, if you're going to pass him, go on now and get out of the way. let me do my thing here on the line that I want to run.
Valvoline pays the big brothers and big sisters of America for every lap that Mark Martin leads. They pay $20. If Mark should win, they'll write a check for $5,000 to that organization, which has benefited to the tune of $276,683 so far this year.
That's a nice gesture on their part. Very good call.
That was really good strategy on Mark Martin's behalf when he let Skinner get by him, because we can see he's starting to pull away just a little bit from Jeff Burton. And if he and Skinner had raced along side by side like we saw Dale Jarrett and Jeff Gordon do a little bit ago.
And if we pan that camera back there, we'll see that same scene again. There it is.
Yep. Side by side again.
And once again, Gordon goes in there and goes up the hill, does a slide job on Jarrett.
Yeah, he came up on the 8 car of Dale Earnhardt Jr. and said, I'm not giving up this position.
The most recent winner in the series last week at Texas, Dale Earnhardt Jr., 4 laps down here this afternoon in 25th position. 17 of Matt Kenseth is where? I can't find him on the scoreboard.
Oh, he's way down here. Is he out?
Oh, yeah.
He must be out off the track. I didn't notice that he was out because he was running in front of Dale Earnhardt Jr., so now Junior's the top rookie.
You know, we talked a few minutes ago about how Matt was the...
He's still out there. Remember, he doesn't have a scoring monitor, a transponder.
That's right. Yep.
So they're having to score his car manually, so we really don't know where he's running.
Yeah, it's not a good reflection of where he is, really.
Okay, good
point. Yep.
Well, Benny's on top.
I'm telling you.
His game.
Well, Rusty Wallace, with the new tires, is beginning to move through the traffic once again. He's up to a battle with Tony Stewart for 11th spot. And that's Bobby Hamilton up there in 10th in the 4 car.
And Chad Little is laps down to the 4 car, but, and now we see Rusty getting back of the 97.
But he made it through, it looked like.
And Hamilton spins.
Hamilton got the worst end of that deal.
And if all these cars move, there's not a caution flag.
And Mike Skinner still didn't get his lap back.
And there's no caution flag with just 22 laps to go.
Yeah. Well, now Skinner has to get ahead of Martin again.
Certainly, Mark Martin did not want to see a caution. When they said, no caution, go ahead. And man, am I glad.
Which I think that Mike Skinner was holding up Mark Martin, and I think that he realized that, and he just moved over and let Mark go, because after all, this is the guy that has a chance of winning the race, and Mike Skinner is still, if he gets a lap back, he's still a lap down with just 20 laps to go.
Martin's advantage now 1 second over Jeff Burton. Let's take a look at that most recent incident again, which did not bring out a caution.
Never see Rusty going in the corner. You know, I said he got in the back of the 97 car. I don't know if that was the case or not. Rusty and both Bobby Labonte was able to get through. The big loser in that, okay, I take that back. He did get in the back of the 97 car.
The 97 got into the 4.
The 8 and the 40 make contact. Good shot from the Pennzoil copter can. Here's the onboard with Rusty and another spin down in 2.
Sterling Marlin is off the racetrack, is on the racetrack, spun around. Now he gets going, so no caution. Yeah, no, the leaders just came up on him, so they get going. No caution.
NASCAR kind of reluctant to throw the caution here in the last 20 laps of this race. We're down to 19 to go.
And we see Jeff Burton up in 2nd spot. And the 4 car, Bobby Hamilton, going a lap down
in 16th.
But Jeff Burton is making a run for it as hard as he can right now, trying to catch Mark Martin. He's a 2nd and a quarter behind.
I don't think he's getting the traction off the turn mark is. I've been watching the last few laps, and it just doesn't seem to get that traction. Sterling Marlin coming down pit road. We'll see what happened to him out on the racetrack.
This is over in turn 2.
Well, hard to say. Let's see if we can tell. Goes down the corner. And there's, I guess, remember a few laps ago when the 1 and the 40 car spun? The 1 car spun. This time, the 40 car spun, Jerry.
Benny, I think what you're implying is they may have a little disagreement going on. Exactly that's what happened, because a minute ago the crew went down to the 1 pit, started pointing fingers down at the Pinnacle crew. So there is some finger pointing right now. There's some tire changing going on. Sterling gets 4 freshmen, and he's away.
Some close racing right here. Bill Elliott hanging on to that 5th position, but there's Gordon, Jarrett, Earnhardt.
And we've got another crash between Bobby Hamilton and Rusty Wallace.
And this does bring out a caution. Bobby Hamilton trying to find a place to go up the racetrack and get headed in the right direction. There he finally does, but with just 12 laps to go, the 17th caution, record tying here at Martinsville, is out.
So what about that? Is it payback time? Well, Bobby Hamilton was just lapped by Mark Martin, going very slowly down the middle of the turn, the bottom part of the racetrack, and suddenly, hey presto, he's into Rusty Wallace, the guy who set off the spin earlier on that took Bobby Hamilton out. And obviously a little bit of tit for tat going on between Steve Park and Sterling Marlin in the 1 and the 40 cars. Well, this is the kind of stuff, of course, that NASCAR fans love to stir the blood, and the sport tries desperately, at least in public, to stamp out always any publicity being good publicity, though, for most of these guys. You know, you win some, you lose some. Guys like Dale Earnhardt and Rusty Wallace know, though, in the long run, if these things start to get out of hand, there are only losers, because perfectly good race cars get wrecked, and that is time, money, points, and race potential places that they can all ill afford to lose. Rusty Wallace then on pit road, and it was taking on 4 tyres about 3 cautions ago, long before we passed the previous caution flag record on the racetrack, which we are now equaling, that Rusty Wallace lost the lead that he had held so long here. 3 times a winner, doesn't look like he's going to win here again this year. Rusty Wallace dropped to about 12th place when he took that 4 tyre stop, and Mark Martin, who stayed out without tyres, still leads it. And we will have less than 10 laps to go, considerably less than 10 laps to go by the time they go green again. The pace car coming round, and our American colleagues away at a break. I would therefore think that they'll get at least the 1 lap to go this time round. Safety car slowing right down to allow the TV to catch back up with the race. The last thing you want to do is go into the final 10 without live TV coverage. Of course, we will stay here all the way through and hopefully get a chat with the winner at the end. And if it is Mark Martin, then it'll be 8 different winners from the first 8 races this year. If it's Jeff Burton, ditto. If it's John Andretti, ditto. There's a good chance of those guys finishing top 3.
There are less than 10 laps to go here at Martinsville, and so when the lineup is given, we will have a single file restart. Here's the reason for the most recent caution. Rusty Wallace on board with him.
Goes down the corner on the outside of Bobby Hamilton, and right there is the contact between Hamilton and Rusty. And Rusty just hit the wall with the right front fender enough that he's knocked the fender in on the tire, and he's been in a couple of times trying to get that metal off the tire. Jerry?
Well, Rusty's been on pit road 2 different times. Robin Pemberton calling him in because spotter said they had the right front tire rubbing. They just came in a moment ago and rolled it with the ball back to roll the fender off. The 4 car, Bobby Hamilton, coming back down pit road, but Rusty has been on and off twice. And Rusty says now it doesn't seem to be rubbing, so hopefully he'll be able to make it these final 8 laps.
Now then, we see Rusty going by on the outside of these lap cars.
And we're not going to give green this time by.
So we'll take another break. Be back for the finish of the Goodies Body Pain 500.
Well, we'll stay with it as our American colleagues go for another quick break. Rattle them in so it doesn't interrupt the post-race ceremony. But boy, Rusty Wallace there in that car, is he looking stoked and aggressive. He is thoroughly keyed off with the whole affair. Not just with the way that the race has gone away from him, doing what he thought was a sensible thing a couple of yellows ago, and taking 4 tyres for the remaining 50 or 60 laps. Would have worked if nobody had stayed out, maybe, but even if they hadn't stayed out, he would still be in a 4 or 5 car battle because he was not fastest off pit road. They got his laps back and put him back in the lead of the race, the crew of the 2 car, but most recently, when he had that last stop before the trouble he's just been in, he lost the lead of the race. So anyway, they're ready to go green again. Mark Martin leads, Jeff Burton right behind him. John Andretti right behind him. They are the top 3. Let's listen.
As you rejoin us, the green flag comes out for the final 7 laps of the race.
And boy, did we have some scrambling right there. With
Oh, and
Gordon
John Andretti goes around. In contact with Michael Andretti.
With who?
Yellow.
You said Michael Andretti. Michael Waltrip?
Michael Waltrip and John Andretti. I got the Andretti's and Michael's. It was Michael Waltrip and John Andretti, I believe. And we see Bill Elliott trying to get on the inside of Tony Stewart and Jeremy Mayfield on the outside of Earnhardt.
This is the battle for 8.
Jeremy has the pressure tires, and Bill Elliott was a big loser in that. Dale Jarrett was a big winner. He went up to 5th, and Jeff Gordon went to 4th, so they both were big winners on that one.
Here comes Rusty.
That's Jeremy there. Rusty's back there. He just passed Bobby Labonte and moved into the 11th position.
Coming up on 3 laps to go. This will complete lap 497.
And here goes Earnhardt back on the inside of Jeremy, who's trying to go on the outside of Elliott.
Bill Elliott running in 7th spot now. And there is Mark Martin with a 3/4 of a second lead over Jeff Burton.
Jeff Gordon trying to get his first top 5 in a long, long time, trying to take away 3rd from Michael Waltrip.
Been 13 races since Jeff has had a top 5 finish. He's right now in the 4th spot.
He can hang on and get that top 5, but he wants to move up if he can.
White flag is out. 1 more lap to go for Mark Martin. Trying to set a record here and become the 8th different winner in 8 races to begin the 2000 season. He's less than a half a lap away from victory.
No contest. Nobody close to him. Here he comes.
Mark Martin wins the Goodies Body Pain 500 at Martinsville. Jeff Burton second, followed by Michael Waltrip, Jeff Gordon, and Dale Jarrett. As the rest of the field comes down, Tony Stewart 6th. Mayfield, Elliott, Earnhardt, and Wallace complete the top 10. So indeed, Mark Martin, his first win since Dover in September of 1990, 15 races ago, the 8th different winner in 2000.
His first win since Dover in 1999 was the missing digit there. Well spotted, the petrol heads among the crowd. So Mark Martin breaks a long drought, and one that he has been all too glad to see the back of, I'm sure. In the end, winning from his teammates in the Roush camp, Jeff Burton in the 99 car. Michael Waltrip holding on to 3rd place, and undoubtedly contact from behind, courtesy of Waltrip, was what put pay to Michael Andretti. Here I go. Thank you very much, Benny Parsons. To John Andretti's chances of taking a top 3 finish for the Richard Petty Racing car in the week that Lee Petty passed away. Dale Jarrett finishing in 5th, the reigning champion, behind Jeff Gordon, and looking down the order, 12th place for Bobby Labonte, points leader coming into this race. Will that be enough to keep him out front? Well, I'm not going to do the mental arithmetic. We'll hopefully be able to bring that to you before the end of the race. Riding on board the 6th car with Mark Martin coming down the pit road, and his first win since Dover in the fall of '99. He comes through the pit lane, thumbs up, and high-fiving his crew. Turning now into victory circle, if he can, through the welter of bodies, waiting to offer him congratulations. And you saw just before the closing stages of the race, Jack Roush sitting implacable as ever with his famous straw hat on, and Roush will be looking considerably more pleased with himself. Race winner, the Goodies Body Paint 500 winner for the year 2000, it is Mark Martin.
Let the celebration continue here as Mark Martin is slinging Gatorade over everybody. 41-year-old Mark Martin's first victory in 7 months. And Mark, what a great effort. Incredible run. 2 tire stops, pit strategy, pitting out of sequence, and a lot of patience on the racetrack. Congratulations.
Dale Earnhardt in points, but Mark Martin making a strong run now. In the week that Lee Petty passed away, Dale Jarrett, step up of his race car from Jeff Burton and Creasy Frank Stoddard, and they of course are his Roush Racing teammates. So it's greatly courtesy to them and to Jimmy Fennick, his own crew chief, who called it. And Mark Martin keeping track position with just under 60 laps left to go in the penultimate yellow flag, or last but 2 in fact yellow flags, and that is what leaves him just 36 short of Bobby Labonte in the points. Warburton third ahead of Jeff Bolton, and